The Warriors didn't practice on Sunday. They just watched the film of Saturday night's loss to see exactly where they kept rushing. They now have shot 6 of 26 outside the arc for a second straight game. It's an embarrassing 23%. And according to the Basketball Power Index, Warriors, however, still have a chance, a 51% chance of winning the series. But Steve Kerr says winning tonight's game is obviously crucial, while Draymond Green says he's looking forward to see how his team responds since they are down 2-1. So, Stephen A., you said that the Grizzlies would give them a fight. How much trouble are the Warriors in?
They're in a world of trouble. The Warriors, in order to win this series, must win tonight's game. They lose tonight's game, they're going home. They're not getting past this round. They're not beating the Memphis Grizzlies 3 games in a row. Skip, Bayless, and myself have told the world that Tony Allen is a friend of this show. This dude, Kerry, is a rough rider. He's one of them brothers. He ain't backing down. He's coming at you, and he is literally attempting to snatch your heart out of your chest. And what makes him special is he's trying to do it defensively. He knows he's no offensive juggernaut. He doesn't care. He wants to be mentioned in the same breath as the Dennis Rodmans and the Scottie Pippens and the elite defensive players in NBA history. This is what he wants. This is why people walk around screaming, first team all defense, first team all defense. He's heard all of this noise about the Splash Brothers. The Memphis Grizzlies are the only team in the NBA that beat the Warriors 3 times this year. Nobody else has done it. Draymond Green, who I love me some Draymond Green. He can't mess with no big boy Zach Randolph. That boy too big for him. And Zach reminds him of it every time he touches the ball. Even when he's not touching the ball, he's going by leaning on him, elbowing him. You know, he's just using him like a coat rack for crying out loud. This is what Zach Randolph is doing. He's got 20 points in all of these games. He's coming at you. And let's be real, Skip. If we're gonna be real here on First Take, I'm sorry. I don't want to be disrespected. I don't want New Zealand and folks and Australia, everybody hearing about him calling me a wonker again. Oh, you know, Andrew Bogut. I mean, Andrew Bogut. Okay, calling me names. But the fact of the matter is this: Zach Randolph and Mark Gasol ain't worried about no Andrew Bogut. That's the least of their concerns. Draymond Green has got to step up and play better, but it's a tall task to ask him because Zach Randolph's just got too much beef. He's a big boy, and he reminds Draymond Green of how small he really is in comparison every time he touches the ball because he throws a body on them. But the real key in this series is Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. Steph Curry, forget the fact that he scored just 2 points and had no assist in the fourth quarter. This is the stat y'all need to keep in mind. He only attempted 1 field goal. That's when somebody's all up in you. You ain't getting anything. I'm married to you right now. I'll walk with you to the locker room, to the bathroom if I have to, just to let you know I'm here. That is what Mike Conley and Tony Allen are doing to these boys right now.
Mike Conley also
That's right.
Steph.
Both of them. Oh, both of them. Mike Conley on Steph, Tony Allen on Klay. They switching off. I mean, it doesn't. They are defending. And that is what's going on here because Memphis is playing playoff basketball because that's the brand of basketball that they played all year long. And it would have been nice to see Lionel Hollins coaching this team, by the way, since it's his players. But the point is that it's nice. They're playing basketball, playoff basketball, which is what they've been doing all season. Golden State has not been doing that because perimeter shots don't win you championships. And my last comment is this, Skip, and I'm going to say this because it needs to be said. Once again, I applaud the job that Steve Kerr has done. He's done a fabulous job. He's one of the nicest dudes you'll ever meet, too. But when these people walk around talking about the Warriors and inexperience, you know, or we're just young, oh, hell no. Ain't nobody trying to hear that. We wouldn't hear that if it was Mark Jackson coaching this team. Oh, they're young. Oh, you know, they're just not there. I mean, it takes some time to grow up. Oh, no.
Well, he's young, too.
I'm just saying.
Right? I mean, this is the first time he's ever been a head coach.
You know what? All I'm saying to you is this. Mark Jackson didn't get that.
Same luxury.
He didn't get that. Mark Jackson, who's responsible for building the foundation of this franchise, he did not get that. So I'm not saying that, don't get me wrong, I'm not pointing the finger at Steve Kerr because I think him and Alvin Gentry have done an outstanding job. The coaching staff is great. I'm not complaining about that. I'm simply saying to Joe Public out there, oh, no. And yeah, I'll say it again. Hell no. You are not getting away with that. You wouldn't say it, they were young. If Mark Jackson was coaching, we don't want to hear it now. You're the best team in basketball. You had the best record in basketball. You've been balling all year, and now Memphis has punched you in the mouth. It is incumbent upon Golden State to step up and stand up and remind the world we have the reigning league MVP. We're the Splash Brothers. We won 67 games this year. We are no joke, and we will come and we will beat Memphis. No excuses.
Okay, wait a second. Are we saying that somebody's saying they're young or inexperienced?
They were saying Steve Kerr,
okay,
and the Golden State Warriors. They were talking about how we're a young team. We have to go through this, and I'm like, no.
Okay.
Everybody trying to hear that.
Okay.
You ain't that young. You've been in the playoffs the last 2 years.
Weren't they talking about inexperienced? Going deep in the playoffs?
Whatever, young, inexperienced. Skip, they've been in the playoffs the last 2 years.
And how far have they gone?
Well, they got knocked out in the first round.
Yeah.
What I'm saying to you is this. You won 67 games. This is supposed to be your time.
Okay.
What you going to do?
Which brings me to my answer to Kerry's question. What they're going to do tonight is they're going to win this game. That's what I believe.
They better.
And if they do, they'll be back in business.
Yes, they will.
And you're right. They won 67 games, which was the 6th best record in the history of the NBA, which is pretty great for a team with a first-year head coach who had never coached a dribble at any level of any basketball.
That's right.
So I'm looking at what the odds makers are saying about tonight's game. The odds makers in Las Vegas, we were just there, these are pretty smart guys, and they're still saying that the Golden State Warriors are a 5-point favorite at Memphis tonight in Game 4. I'm going to hang my hat on that today. I'm going to say that Golden State should win this game, and Golden State will win this game. But the issue I have is with the MVP, who has not been able to live up to being named the MVP for the last 2 games. Remember, they feted him. They honored him that night at Golden State before Game 2. And I'm not saying it was a mistake, because he deserved it and he embraced it and he should have, because it was an incredible achievement for that skinny young man that is Steph Curry.
He deserved it.
Came from nowhere, basically, in Charlotte, North Carolina, not even recruited, out of high school, to become NBA MVP through all those ankle issues and surgeries that he went through was huge. So, God bless. But now it's time to get back to business, and he could not live up. I'm just guessing in his psyche that he was trying, because he's a great kid. He's just a great, he's a man now. But he was trying to do too much. He's trying to live up to being MVP of the league. And that first night, Game 2, he shoots 2 for 11 from 3. And they score a total of 90 points. Then the other night, Game 3, he shoots 2 for 10 from 3. And they total 89 points. This is a team that averaged 110 points during the regular season. That's no good, Steph. You know it, and I know it. This, as a team, they shot 40% from 3 during the regular season, which led the NBA. And now they're down to 31% from 3. 25 of 80, thanks in large part to the MVP, Steph Curry. So he's going to have to make some. He's going to have to figure it out. And I know you live and die. We talk about this all the time. You live and die for the three-point land. And it's not the way to win championships. But he can do a lot of things with the basketball. He's going to have to create some opportunities for himself to make threes. We always say that he's capable.
You know Steph Curry's my favorite player to watch in the NBA.
Me too.
Here's the deal. When you witness a guy on the bench with his head down, the way Steph's head was down, that indicates that your heart has been snatched. Now, I'm not going to be blasphemous and say that about the great Steph Curry, but I will say that's how it looked. Now, when you combine that with reading the reports and how the players had to get him to come out and texting them, come on and eat dinner and hang out with us, because you were in your hotel room and you just down.
He normally stays in
I understand, but they were talking about how he was down.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm saying to you, the kind of cat that Tony Allen and Mike Conley are, they see something like that. That's like shark and blood-infested waters. You just can't look like that. You understand what I'm saying? I'm talking about appearances. You just can't look like that. So when I look at it from that perspective, I I don't hold Steph totally accountable because I recognize when you've got Zach and Gasol down low and you got a guy like Jeff Green, people like that, you're talking about a front line that's suffocated. Ain't much room to operate driving to the basket. There's some big bodies down there, which means that gives Conley and Allen the freedom to get all up in you and take chances because they know they got their backs covered. But where I hold Steph accountable, there were some open shots he had, and he looked way off, like he's never looked this season, which is why I said, yeah, I don't blame you for pointing at him, and it's like, look, because those are not shots Steph would normally. Now, if they're contested, that's different. But the open shots, I mean, he won an open shot. It was an air ball. That's not Steph Curry I know. And then you put your head down and you look defeated. That can't these are the kind of guys, man. These are the kind of guys. If you playing in the park, you're going like this. I can't show any weakness. These brothers will take me out and embarrass me and laugh at me in front of everybody if I bow to them. I've got to come at them just as hard as they're coming at me. Steph Curry, it ain't just about him shooting. He literally has to go playground tonight and remind Conley and Tony Allen just who he is. Because they're coming at him in a way that ain't just NBA basketball. I mean, they're trying to snatch your manhood. Sure. You got to understand that. Everybody doesn't try to snatch your manhood. These brothers try to snatch your manhood. Steph Curry can't let them do that. Cannot let them do that.
And what happened right on time as Steph was awarded the MVP, what did Mike Conley Jr. do for his team? He returned with that mask on. And speaking of manhood, that was a man.
And by the way,
it spoke to his
teammates. By the way, Conley scored. The game started in the first 6 minutes. He had like 9 points. That particular game. But I just can't say enough, man. Tony Allen and Mike Conley. You know, we don't give them enough credit. Well, they're rough riders.
Okay, but your point about how young or inexperienced Golden State is, this Memphis team is an extremely veteran playoff basketball team. It seems like 10 years ago, this same group eliminated my Spurs when Ginobili got hurt. Remember, he had his elbow hurt last regular season game? And they've been together this whole time, man. And they're still together, and they're playing at their highest level right now.
And by the way, let's not just talk about Steph. They're called the Splash Brothers for a reason. Klay Thompson needs to step up and handle his business as well.
And there are a bunch of other guys on that team. And you mentioned Bogus that you talked about. But there's a guy named Harrison Barnes, and there's Spates, and there's Barbosa, and there's Iguodala. Listen, they can all play.
But the only reason I don't point the finger at them that much, and I know they have to step up, I agree with you. But the only reason I don't point to them that much is that when all else fails, you're going to defer to the Splash Brothers because their numbers are going to get called as it pertains to who gets the shots. So as a result of that, they can only do but so much. When I see Andre Iguodala or Harrison Barnes hit 4 of 8 shots, how am I going to hold them accountable? You know, you hit 50% of your shots. It's up to Klay and Steph. If you can't score yourself, facilitate. But you've got to do something because you need to. They need to hear this. Tony Allen and Mike Conley are trying to snatch their hearts. They're not just trying to win games. They are trying to demoralize you to make sure it's embedded in your mind. We are taking your heart from you. You are not on our level. They have to step up and respond and say, damn that, we ain't having it. It's got to be that kind of attitude.
Okay, so who you got tonight?
I got to go with Golden State because I picked Golden State to win this series. And if Golden State doesn't win tonight, they will lose the series. They will not beat Memphis 3 games in a row. They must win tonight.
It's big trouble, guys. Spates out. You mentioned Spates. He's out for 4 and 5. Obviously, he injured himself. Steve Kerr said tonight is a moment of truth. Hopefully, they will have the right answer. Phil Jackson, however, weighing in on the game, he sent the following tweet, which some assumed was a bit of a shot at the Golden State Warriors. It says, NBA analysts, give me some diagnostics on how 3-point-oriented teams are faring this playoff. So he's suggesting that 3-point teams don't really do well in the playoffs.
But didn't he say, seriously, how's it going? Was that the end of his tweet?
It
was like he's
here's the bottom line.
Taking a shot at them, not sure.
I don't care whether he's taking a shot at them or not. He's an 11-time champion. But in the end, the Knicks was so horrid, so awful, such a basketball abomination of epic proportions. The fact that Phil Jackson would even allow us to be reminded that he is still involved in the sport. The Knicks Knicks was so bad, I damn near forgot the man won 11 titles as a coach. I mean, that's how bad they were. So Phil needs to be focusing on the draft and free agency and lead the playoff basketball to people who actually made an attempt to make the playoffs. Phil doesn't need to say anything. Nothing.
Phil, you shouldn't be tweeting.
I have one question for Mr. Jackson.
This one here.
What's that?
This one here?
Phil Jackson, yes. My question is, Phil, the last 2 regular seasons, the three-point shooting was won by the San Antonio Spurs. They led the league both years, and they should have won both championships. But another three-point shooter named Ray Allen stopped them from winning the first championship. But they did win the second championship.
And let's remember that when Phil was winning his titles, there was a dude by the name of Robert Horry who shot threes all the time.
Is what we're getting at. Coming up next, Clippers look as if they're headed to the Western Conference Finals, folks. Congratulations, Clippers. One free throw at a time. We're discussing it right after the break. The Warriors didn't practice on Sunday. They just watched the film of Saturday night's loss to see exactly where they kept rushing. They now have shot 6 of 26 outside the arc for a second straight game. It's an embarrassing 23%. And according to the Basketball Power Index, Warriors, however, still have a chance, a 51% chance of winning the series. But Steve Kerr says winning tonight's game is obviously crucial, while Draymond Green says he's looking forward to see how his team responds since they are down 2-1. So, Stephen A., you said that the Grizzlies would give them a fight. How much trouble are the Warriors in?
They're in a world of trouble. The Warriors, in order to win this series, must win tonight's game. They lose tonight's game, they're going home. They're not getting past this round. They're not beating the Memphis Grizzlies 3 games in a row. Skip, Bayless, and myself have told the world that Tony Allen is a friend of this show. This dude, Kerry, him elbowing him, you just use him like a coat rack for crying out loud. This is what Zach Randolph is doing. He's got 20 points in all of these games. He's coming at you. And let's be real, Skip. If we're gonna be real here on First Take, I'm sorry. I don't want to be disrespected. I don't want New Zealand and folks in Australia, everybody hearing about him calling me a wonker again. Andrew Bogut. Andrew Bogut. Okay, calling me names. But the fact of the matter is this. This is what he wants. This is why people walk around screaming, first team, all defense. First team, all defense. He's heard all of this noise about the Splash Brothers. The Memphis Grizzlies are the only team in the NBA that beat the Warriors 3 times this year. Nobody else has done it. Draymond Green, who I love me some Draymond Green. He can't mess with no big boy Zach Randolph. That boy too big for him. And Zach reminds him of it every time he touches the ball. Even when he's not touching the ball, he's going by leaning on. He's a rough rider. He's one of them brothers. He ain't backing down. He's coming at you. And he is literally attempting to snatch your heart out of your chest. And what makes him special is he's trying to do it defensively. He knows he's no offensive juggernaut. He doesn't care. He wants to be mentioned in the same breath as the Dennis Rodmans and the Scottie Pippens and the elite defensive players in NBA history.